Okay, let's get ready to play against LocalgHost. I'm gonna bring it up anyway, just because I want to see how things are still progressing. So if we take a look on the forums, tournaments, and Elite League Season 4, we can get the map spinner up in a new tab, as much as I despise it. And at the same time we can also bring up the brackets and see how things are going. So where is he? He is currently away, possibly. Meanwhile, Redbeard's online, so we could potentially get a game between Redbeard and LocalgHost at some point, because I don't believe the two have played each other as of yet. In fact, I don't actually know who... Wait, that one. So Outer Reaches is the map, then I take it. Okay, so I suppose we need to just find out then who is meant to be going as first pick, so where am I? So LocalgHost is going to be first pick. But I don't really care too much about that. You're not just going to go for the play champion. Let's just do this. PC, Force Commander, Warlock, Inquisitor, Lictor Alpha. Yeah, should be okay to play against local at Redbeard. I'll find out from him. Also Redbeard. I'd like to play. Okay, so local is going to go for the APO. I should probably set myself to ready. I'm not used to being the host and like expecting local to ready up. So play champion versus the APO on Outer Reaches. Shouldn't be too scary of a matchup, just need to be careful of some APO heals coming in. Might try to go for the Sword of Undeath, because I really do like that war gear and don't get to use it too often. So if we do see LocalgHost go for some ASM, I will probably decide to go for the Sword of Undeath, just so I can try and get some ASM zombies and throw him back into his army. Torpid also messaged he wants to play too after Redbeard. So I'll see if he'll be up for playing all these games. Pretty sure sent Heretics towards the bottom side. So against Torpid not possible, but should be okay against Redbeard. Is what I'm picking up here. After 21 GMT plus 3, what is GMT plus 3? That's 11? Well, we're currently in the UK, we're currently GMT plus 1 due to daylight savings, aren't we? Yes, power node. Let's place one of those down. So, not seen any units as of yet, although saying that, we do run into some of the bottom side. So we'll just try and force melee against this squad. We'll have to play champion actually joining up. The requisition point has been decaptured. So by him trying to move away, I'll be trying to fall back to some units, but there are some scouts nearby then. BbBoS is also here to provide some assistance as well, so CSM can just go behind some green cover. We're just going to back away from that fight. So this one model at the end has taken the brunt of all the damage here, so he might go down. Doesn't look like we'll be that fortunate. Let's just try and buy it a bit of time here until we get that sword ready. Right, I'm not getting that decap on that power for whatever reason. And because we're going for upgrades, might as well place down some early generators. So he's decided to opt for the Sanguine Chainsword here. The Sanguine Chainsword should lose, just because it cannot out-heal. Look at the damage though! Oh my god. Okay, so we really need to use this charge to actually provide some healing to that Plague Champion, otherwise it's going to take a bit of time without it. Has he not captured his natural VP? Because I've definitely not decapped it that quickly. You know, I should be able to get this bottom power. We can put a node down on it as well, just so we can get a bit faster power economy. And I'm going to wait for armor in the next tier. And they really do take their time to try and run away, actually getting these heretic squad there. Where these attacks close. Wow, the heretics actually make it out there alive. And also that's a lot of damage coming in as well, especially as the cover has been destroyed, so let's get these heretics reinforced. So let's just go around towards the top side of the map for now. This expert is really irritating me. What's he on about? Double. We could just go for grenade launchers, given that he's got double shotgun scouts here. But these blank grenade launchers are going to be an awesome purchase, given he went for Devastators now. So that's not going to be too big of an issue. The only thing is that the more I do trade, the closer he will be to getting Lyran's Blessing, so that he can actually get a regen up on his APO. He hasn't gone 2 attacks, has he? No, that was Devastators earlier. I'm still waking up a little bit. I'm a bit tired. Right, let's try and hunt down these tactical marines here. grenade launchers are pretty irritating on this map due to the differences in terrain. Let's try and get behind some green cover here since Blade Champ can't really do too much here. Okay, that grenade barrage was a little bit too slow. Don't know if he's actually, his tax is still there, so let's send both heretics up there. Instead, we can always get the Blade Champion repurchased in tier 2, but we'll wait for some other units instead first. We're going to go for the requisition point instead. These can try and melee on retreat, but I don't think they'll be successful in trying to get a model hit. Okay, so there's the APO repurchase. No chance of letting the CSM fight in point blank range against these Devastators, so we might as well send them back to base, and given our requisition economy is booming, I think we can safely repurchase the Blade Champion here.
Prepare the infection. Let the nurglings feast.
Okay, so he's tier 2 now. If I get a special here, I should be able to get a zombie or two.
Brothers, the Emperor attacks.
Don't know why my Blade Champion's going after a regular model hit. Won't disagree though. So we've got the Aspiring Champion here. Does have that plasma gun instead. And from here we can just get a Blood Crusher, force him to get some AV since he did go for Avenged Round Devastators as opposed to keeping the Devastators with their default configuration. So he's going to go after the Generator Farm. That's not too much of an issue. The APO will not be able to kill that in time because we'll get a Blood Crusher out and the Blood Crusher can just defend the Generator Farm on my behalf. You know, the Blade Champion can regroup with these Heretics and these CSM as we go and push our way through the top side of the map. Then we could just capture the Generator Farm. It's low enough. Oh, the variant, let's split. For some reason I brought my Blade Champion back rather than keeping him towards the bottom. I'm assuming he's captured it.
Structure destroyed.
Well, I've got requisition, that's fine. Don't know if it's worth going for a full cap on this requisition point. So go for these scouts. So here is the Libby once again. Guess we'll just send Heretics to cap up the entire top side for now. So Apo should die here because he's not paying attention to it. He does get a heal at the last second. That's not going to be matter too much.
Your forces obey you. Hostile forces assail the power node.
We'll go for the VP there.
Do not lose us that power node.
Oh, well, we lost the aspiring champion.
Who rises to us as the upper hand?
Two blood crushers are surprisingly annoying to deal with. Oh, we got decapped there. What has he got? Can't see. I don't know if he got devastators or not. Your forces obey you. Our plague champion has reached level 3. Oh, what, he killed it? Alright, where's my chosen Mark of Zinch stuff?
Fresh warriors dispatched.
He's librarian. That's cool. That's one less thing to worry about. But the VP's ticking down anyway, so as long as I can just keep a lot of pressure on him before he actually makes it back out of base, that's fine. But I do like the play champion on that map because of how small it is. I bled a lot of heretics. Right. I don't know if he's going to be hosting again, actually. He will be hosting again. So what commanders have I got? I've got Inquisitor, Warlock. Might go Tyranids. Kind of depends on what he's plays. I don't actually know too much. Tech Marine. We'll go Lictor. How do you decide which play champion armor to go for? There's very few cases that you would really want to go for the fettered armor. Unless, yeah, like you're up against a very heavy melee build. The tier 2 one is just a lot better because it's 600 HP. And a knockback immunity as well, which is really handy. Pretty much turn your plate champion into a walker without a heavy crush ability. Only issue is there's a lot of buildings on this map, so I don't know if I should go for like 2 spore mines and do a torpid play and send them either side of the map. Too much luck in the last game, so let's see if we are just as lucky this game then. I don't know if 2 spores is a torpor play. Mainly the torpor players and just making as many spore mines as humanly possible without breaking the economy. You know what, I'm going to go for fast upgrades. I'll go for the shoulder build. Yeah, let's go pick us. Where's the scouts? I'll have to set up for this tech marine then. I would have gone building time. Okay, so that's 1 upgrade down. Just want the adrenal glands upgrade. Oh my hormones. What are these tanks doing? They're just idle for some reason. I don't even know why I'm infiltrating this early on. So has he gone triple scouts? Not quite enough positioning. Let's see what he's got on this side. Those are some tasty looking targets. I won't go for the attack because I don't have the flesh hook ready. Actually no, could I just stalk the attack? My flesh hook's only 50, I thought it was 60. How much health has that attack got? 250, so I just need like 3 hits I guess. But the Homogons have just ruined the ambush. Go on. Oh, gets it. Trying to ambush these scouts then. If I wait till tier 2 get the Toxic Cysts upgrade then I guess. So I've placed down any power as of yet, so I don't know if he's intending to make this here his Generator farm instead. There were some spores on the way, so we'll see what they can do.
Come, show me what passes for fury among your misbegotten kind. Fire! Unleash all fury upon them. Fire! For everyone we kill, 3 more appear.
I've got no energy to infiltrate. Got enough energy to infiltrate. And these scouts are all really low. That's annoying that they were so able to attack there. I guess all this attack's dead now. And also my unit's poisoned. That's a surprising amount of time that LocalgHost was able to hold out there for. But then the only issue is that he only had like that very small portion of the map. But with this, Redbeard is going to be taking over now that that series has been completed. Redbeard is going to be up next, so I don't know if Ghost will host or if I will host. Okay, let's get the players invited anyway. And we'll get map spun up as well. So, Jarlow's Forge is... Oh, what? He's not playing anymore. Oh. He has to go to work. Okay, well, do we have... Where's my chat window? Do we have anyone else who needs to play lead this second? Hiveminion, nice. Well, I mean, Jarlow's Forge is still going to stand. So in the meantime, let's bring it up. Hiveminion versus Redbeard. Let's also get the title changed as well. On stream, so that it doesn't say me versus LocalgHost. Although this wireless keyboard for the other computer is kind of dying. Redbeard versus Hiveminion. Updates. Pretty sure we'll do Steam notification as well at some point, but... So, Hiveminion versus Redbeard, where are you? Toil, Torpid... Redbeard, here we go, game 1-3-5. Redbeard is on top. Are both players happy? Peter is, what's it called? The Pain Boy, isn't it? Because I know Redbeard done that against me. Or is Peter something else? Okay, wait, who did I say was on top? Redbeard is on top. Redbeard is first commander. Okay, so Peter is the pain boy. So yeah, was it Redbeard done that to me? So I don't know if there's a clip of that going around, but I can always try and find it. You still won the game, Redbeard. Didn't matter that you threw away the pain boy. It just made it look all that stronger. Yeah, trying to keep up with the names that you decide to give every commander and sub-commander does get harder to follow. So Redbeard is going to go for the play champion. Hiveminion is going to go for the Chaos Sorcerer. Should be an interesting choice for this map. We've seen quite a lot of Chaos Mirrors where players decide that if one player is going to go Chaos, the other shall also use their Chaos Commander at the same time. Although saying that, we probably had more APO Mirrors than none. So Redbeard, just waiting for him to ready up. And from there, we'll be able to jump into game 1 of this series. And there we go. So on the left hand side, we're going to have Hiveminion here playing as a Chaos Sorcerer. I quite like this colour scheme he's got here. Oops. It's nice, light blue, kind of purple sort of thing. But on the other side, we're going to have Plague Champion here, played by Redbeard. Again, for whatever reason, this map just absolutely adjusts whenever you follow a unit's walking through a particular patch. But it should do that for the remainder of the game. So from both players, we will see double heretics get purchased. Chaos Sorcerer, as we all know, can instantly kill a heretic squad with 6 Doom Bolts if he is able to land the full ability off and if you do not dodge. So we'll see if that does potentially happen in this game. Chaos Sorcerer, though, definitely wants to be careful about running 2 squads of heretics in very close range together, or any squad at close range together, as those Doom Bolts will make a huge difference in the fight. And allow Sorcerer to turn the time. Meanwhile, play champion, we could always see the Mucus Discharge get purchased to try and heal through any Doom Bolt attacks like that. So far, no action as yet, but the play champion will meet some CSM on the top side of the map. The CSM are going to try and force melee against him, but there are some heretics on the way to provide some backup here to the play champion. There are some heretics on the way to provide some backup to those CSM, who need some backup against the enemy heretics. Straight away, the CSM going to find themselves overwhelmed and will be forced to retreat away. Meanwhile, we do see that Redbeard has some CSM of his own. Doom Bolts are going to come a little bit short here, hitting a bit of terrain. There is a slight elevation here, so you do need to aim it a little bit further back when trying to cast Doom Bolts. And the Sorcerer does consume a Heretic, bringing back up to full energy. Line up to cast an additional 6 Doom Bolts, and some more Heretics, some more fodder are here to provide some more support. The Chaos Sorcerer will lead the fights here with a special. Meanwhile, Redbeard does have some Heretics going to be bashing the power of Hiveminion, so Hive needs to be a little bit careful. Doom Bolts do go down, but do come a little bit short once again. Doesn't quite all hit the target here. They are going to be a little bit far back here, but Sorcerer should be able to clean up these Heretics at the very least. Although he will get forced off afterwards, I'd imagine. Although the CSM are currently busy capping the point instead, rather than assisting the play champion, but we do see that turning around now. So I don't think the Heretics were able to secure themselves anything. They did damage the node slightly, but overall didn't get anything more than that. So straight away, Noise Marines versus Raptors. Noise Marines for Hiveminion, Raptors for Redbeard. So with Noise Marines, you need to be a little careful against these Raptors. Raptors will be able to get on top of them, but Raptors can also be knocked off by the Noise Marines Cacophony. Noise Marines, though, because of the map being quite small, Noise Marines can punish you quite hard if you do allow them to get close enough. And they are also very good against Heretics without their Aspiring Champion, because it will just melt through them since their Sonic weapon is a flame type weapon, doing a nice amount of AoE damage. Can also silence ranged units, although it does take 2 seconds for these silence to actually take effect. So we'll see if that does occur. You know, Raptors do make their way finally out of base. We do have Noise Marines being assisted by the Sorcerer, CSM and Heretics as the vanguard here. And Raptors actually going to just jump straight in for this fight. CSM could try and force melee against these Raptors as well. Doom Bolts will go down. Noise Marines are going to pull back here. Should start focusing down Heretics where possible. Chaos Sorcerer will consume one of his own Heretics here. Do need an Aspiring Champion at some point. We'll try and provide a bit of bulk here. CSM could try and enter the building. You know, these Raptors are quite low. The risk of bleeding the model. We do have some Heretics coming from the bottom side here. Could be a dead Raptor model. Looks like the aspiring champion heretics are all gone. Looks like the aspiring, with only the aspiring champion remaining. Here's an aspiring champion though for a Hiveminion that should help him in this fight here. These Raptors are so low, not really wanting to retreat. That sorcerer gets special, that could be a dead Raptor squad if he's not careful. Does end up killing 2 Raptor models with that single special, so that sorcerer feeling pretty good about himself. Meanwhile, Noise Marine is currently in base, making their way back out. And Redbeard decides to push on a little bit further. Should see another aspiring champion for this other squad, and there it is. Probably will see the same thing by Redbeard. Actually deciding to go for grenade launchers here. Not too sure about the grenade launcher purchase, but can be good for disruption. We could see a blight grenade in combination then with these grenade launchers to try and poison the enemy heretics. So far we do not see a blight grenade purchase as of yet. Don't know if you can actually afford it, thinking about it. No, you can definitely afford it. So we'll see how these Noise Marines can do. They should be able to get a silence against CCSM, or at the very least force them away a little bit. So the grenade launchers then, I guess they're going to be used to disrupt these Noise Marines rather than trying to do any sort of blight grenade play. So Hive is going to group up and just try and force his way up to the top side. Doesn't have a CSM with him, so doesn't have too much in terms of range damage. Sorcerer is going to cast Doom Bolts here, but there is that difference in elevation, so it's a bit of a difficult position to actually land it properly. Meanwhile, Heretics and Noise Marines are going to continue to advance a bit further forward. CSM will join the fight. Noise Marines are going to start focusing down these Heretics. And Cacophony is forced to be used. I'm not too sure about the timing of that Cacophony. Could have allowed the Heretics to just continue the fight here. Meanwhile, those are some nice Doom Bolts onto the back line here. Those Heretics on the back side will be forced away now. And I think Hiveminion should be able to brute force his way in here. These Raptors are not having the most favourable of fights here. They're going to try and jump in once again, but going for the CSM squad instead of the Noise Marine squad. Meanwhile, the Sorcerer is just on the backside here, just being a massive pain there. Picks off a CSM model. Can always try and pick up some additional Heretic models here as well. Could try and consume to try and heal up, but I don't know if his consume is on cooldown. That's why he decides to retreat away at that particular moment. Now Noise Marines should be able to get another generator. And with that, Hiveminion is going to back away. Does get a decent bash off and doesn't overextend too much. The only issue is the lot of the map is actually fairly neutral actually at this point, but Redbeard is still in control of the majority, in control of the top VP, this requisition point at the bottom of the screen, and also this power at the bottom side as well. So from here, Hiveminion will need to play a bit defensively. Now that he's got the slight advantage here and just needs to try and cap up the map as much as possible. Should see that he will be the first one to tier 2 at this rate. And these Heretics on the bottom side just going to retreat away. I feel like they could commit to a fight against these Raptors since the play champion and these Grenade Launch Heretics were a bit too far away to provide much support to them in time. And also just by time so that this generator wouldn't get bashed as well. So we should see some Doom Bolts. It looks like Sorcerer may be deciding to wait for enough energy regen to cast 6 Doom Bolts instead. Do require 100 energy at max. So fire off 6 Doom Bolts rather than the 3. Despite the ability still only costing 60 energy to cast. Redbeard is going to be the first one to tier 2. Hiveminion will follow up almost immediately, having the same amount of power, but the map is incredibly red at the moment, so Hiveminion does need to make a bit of a focus on map control. Still, the only one generator for Redbeard overall. You know, some nice Doom Bolts here onto the Raptors, brings them down quite low, even killing the model there. CSM will finish it off. Heretics are going to try and go in on these worshipping grenade launch Heretics. And Hiveminion looks like he's eager for a fight, but also needs to be very mindful about the map control and how a focus should be made towards that at some point. Those Marines could just go on capping duties on the top side of the map. They don't need to be in the fight as such. Some more nice Doom Bolts on these Heretics. CSM need to make their way towards the front lines to try and poke off some of these models that have been taking a lot of damage here. We do see them making their way over now, while Heretics will be capping on the backside. Another Grenade Barrage is going to go down. We'll catch out these Noise Marine Raptors to immediately follow that up as well. Raptors do have a short amount of time where they are knockback immune, so they can jump in at the same time. You know, some more nice Doom Bolts, but Touch of Nurgle on these Raptors. These Raptors are so low, but that Touch of Nurgle heal at the very last second will be enough to keep them alive, but with only a single model left, we should not see any other explosions unless Redbeard decides to sacrifice that Raptor squad. The Raptors will finally back away here. That Chaos Sorcerer now level 2, very close to level 3. If he does get a generator here, he should level up. You see that Hiveminion is slowly trying to gain more and more map control, but it's going to be a Blood Crusher here for either player. Following that up, for the Chaos Sorcerer, would like to see some upgrades for him, particularly the Rod of Warpfire. I think it would be a pretty good upgrade in this situation. Grenade Launch Heretics tend to remain very clumped up together, so the Warpfire ability, if you do land it correctly, can potentially wipe an entire Heretic squad with a single Warpfire ability. Also very good at disrupting the CSM and dealing a lot of damage to them. Especially when they are sitting in line like this, perfect opportunity for a Warpfire ability to bring them down quite low, and then follow that up immediately with some Doom Bolts if they don't retreat away. So 2 Blood Crushers on the field. We'll see who decides to go for some AV first. Blood Crushers can try and fight each other, but the Plague Champion will probably have the advantage here, given that his worship will be slightly stronger. The Plague Champion can also repair himself as a commander. CSM though, taking a lot of damage. We'll be able to back away. Do see an Aspiring Champion here, so we should see the Mark of Zinj upgrade as well. Meanwhile, Blood Crushers on the field, both of them looking fairly similar in terms of colour, so we'll just have to rely on the health bar. One's a slightly darker colour than the other. The 2 Blood Crushers better than one. Alternatively, you can also follow up the Blood Crusher with more Blood Crushers. Multiple Blood Crushers are really annoying to deal with. But then if you do end up dealing with them, then your opponent won't have too much left. That Sorcerer will be forced away these Doom Bolts, not really doing too much to these Heretics there. The other Blood Crushers will end up fighting each other here for the most interesting of fights. Raps is going to go on top of these Noise Rains. No Blastmaster upgrade for them as of yet. It will be interesting to see one of those come in a bit later. Plague Champion is going to go in for some repairs. There is no worship support for the Blood Crusher of Redbeard, so Redbeard is forced to back away a little bit here. Like these Raptors, we do see the Aspiring Champion get purchased for them, but even then they still don't want to be fighting Aspiring Champion Heretics. So we'll try and switch focus to these Noise Marines instead. But these Noise Marines aren't really contributing too much to the fight. I don't know if it's really worth trying to focus on them so aggressively. You know, Raptors will continue to back away. And we do see that the Blood Crusher is currently back in base getting some repairs from these Heretics. I feel like it's more effective to just worship, as the worship is 13.5 regen per second as opposed to the repair, which is 10. Could be wrong about that. But Plague Marines have been purchased here by Hiveminion. Plague Marines, very effective. Plague Marines can be warped in on top of the Chaos Sorcerer as well. And looks like Chains of Torment is going to be the next purchase here, or the Robes of Torment, which gives you the Chains of Torment ability, which allows you to keep units static on the ground, and thanks to that Doom Blast, Chaos Sorcerer will receive enough XP needed to level up, as these Heretics will try and come in for a bit of a power bash. The Plague Marines are going to ambush this enemy Blood Crusher here, slowing it down as well, while the Blood Crusher of Hiveminion also works its way down. Noxious Cloud goes down. Heretics are splitting apart, since Noxious Cloud shouldn't be too effective. Meanwhile, Slaughter has been activated on the CSM squad, so we should see them switch to their Chainswords as they are fighting Raptors. You know, Plague Marines are going to attempt to chase down that Blood Crusher. I don't know how successful they will be though. These Raptors will force off the remainder of units. They do have enough energy to jump, so they could have tried to jump to finish off that Heretic squad. Instead, they are going to try and come in, provide some assistance to the Blood Crusher, but it does end up falling to Hiveminion's Blood Crusher. So these Plague Marines can just go off to the side and start capping things up, while Hiveminion's Blood Crusher still works his way on a Heretic squad here. And Redbeard does have Plague Marines of his own, so we'll need to try and get them into the fight where possible. They're currently making their way down from the bottom side of the map, but we do see that this Blood Crusher will just charge out of there, can be warped to safety as well by the Chaos Sorcerer if he needs to do so. You know, that Sorcerer should have Doom Bolts ready again, although he can only cast 3 since he doesn't have enough energy. And he is going to warp out his Blood Crusher there, so he's focusing on the top side of the map. So Chains of Torment would be very useful for trying to lock down units. Allows Blood Crusher to just freely attack with Sorcerer, kind of taking a bit of a liberty there, trying to walk a bit aggressively. Meanwhile, Raptors do try and lead the fight here. Touch from Nurgle, I believe it is on cooldown. So a bit of a risky opportunity for them to try and go in on. Meanwhile, Heretics infiltrated will make their way towards the front line, have been detected by the opposing Aspiring Champion Heretics. And Plague Marines not really able to contribute too much to the fight as of yet, although the Blood Crusher has now revealed itself, but plenty of worship support. It will be brought back up to full HP. CSM actually bleeding the model here and retreats as well. You know, Plague Marines misfiring with that rocket, actually trying to focus down these Heretics instead. Blood Crusher is now free to focus down the Plague Champion, while Heretics will tie up the Plague Marines. And we do see that a Power Bash is potentially underway here. Noise Marines do make their way towards the power, with the Blood Crusher provides some anti-melee support. And so far, Hiveminion definitely with the advantage this game, having his Blood Crusher still alive. So that's one generator down. Do you see Heretics making their way towards the top side? That could be a dead squad. Only 2 models alive. Blood Crusher just needs a couple of hits. Well, I don't think he'll get the other hits needed. So we do see the Mark of Tzeentch upgrade here with the Aspiring Champion. So that Plasma Gun has been equipped. And this is a very aggressive push here by Hive. The Warp ability was used, so I believe it's still on cooldown. Plague Marines do get another shot off here. You know, our Raptors are going to go in onto the Blood Crusher as well. And that is going to be an overextended Blood Crusher. So with that, Hiveminion did try away a little bit of an advantage that he did have. Yes, he did get 2 generators, but losing the Blood Crusher, which is buying him so much map pressure here. I'm not too sure about that decision. So CSM do activate their Slaughter ability. We'll see if they do switch over to their Chainswords. However, even if they do, don't think it's wise for them to be fighting these Raptors here on the field. You know, Touch of Noble was used by Redbeard to try and secure that top VP. On the other sides of the map here, Chains Torment does go down. Chaos Sorcerer doesn't actually have anything to really follow that up with. Ideally, you want to use Chains of Torment and then try and cast your Doom Bolts, as it will be a guaranteed hit unless the opponent does retreat away. These CSM will enter the building. These Heretics that were down to 2 models earlier are now back on the field with full models, and we do see that Hiveminion is going to be the first person to tier 3. Still no upgrades on the Plague Champion as of yet, but we do see the Armor of Pestilence coming in. So we'll see how that performs. So Redbeard, because he has lost his Generator farm a couple of times, it's unlikely that we'll see him go tier 3 this game. He may try and just survive the game in tier 2 all the way to the finish. Hiveminion himself, we could potentially see some Lightning Core Terminators come out to try and deal with any sort of infantry on the field. Although Terminators in their default configuration should also be fine. Plague Marine explosion upon death there. That's quite a lot of damage to these Heretics. Raptors, they do not have enough energy to try and jump to finish off that Aspiring Champion, so we'll end up seeing Hiveminion's power get bashed. Although he's got a pretty much decent amount of power stocked up, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. You know, Heretics from the flank here, going to go after the Plague Champion. Although we do have the Plague Fist on the way, so we should see the Pestilent Strike ability get used here. Although it does not look like it's required. So with the Pestilent Strike, it does stun enemy units for 4 seconds, so it can be quite useful as a melee counter. Also doing 82.5 melee DPS per second, so quite a lot. Though I should say DPS per second since it's already got it in the name. So Chaos Sorcerer is going to try and go in, but the Pestilent Strike is going to go down. That Sorcerer is now stunned, and with the Raptors here, that's a lot of single target damage. Raptors do not have enough energy to jump once again, so we do see the Cacophony going to go down, but with the Armor of Pestilence, does allow the Noise Marines, or does allow the Plague Champion rather, to stand up against that Cacophony and ignore it. So, Hiveminion, tier 3, doesn't have the requisition to actually afford anything in tier 3 though, but does have the power to do so. So we'll see what he decides to go for. I actually went for a Mark of Khorne upgrade on the CSM as well, which is kind of interesting. I suppose if he's going to be using that as a side capping unit, he'll pretty much win against any squad on the field. Maybe with the exception of the Plague Champion if he was full HP. Raptors going to go in, going to cast Mass Suppression there, thanks to their energy pack jump, or backpack jump. Now the Plague Champion is currently stuck on the ground there due to that Chains of Torment, and these Raptors have taken a massive amount of damage there, trying to get into the fight. And our Plague Champion trying to get surrounded. We could even see the Icon of Noble get purchased as well from Redbeard, although that might be a bit of a luxury item at this point, but would be quite effective against these masses of Heretics on the field. You know, our Heretics going to start trying to capping up the mid side of the map. We do see these guys in rapid fire mode here. Not too sure what that was all about. What? Why are their plasma guns just rapidly firing? That's weird. But anyway, Chaos Sorcerer is going to be forced away, so Blake Marines on the bottom side of the map here for a Hiveminion will just be on capping duty since they can't really contribute too much to a fight. And here is a Blight Grenade for Redbeard, which will go down but is actually going to miss in this particular instance. But always good to see a Blight Grenade, especially as Hiveminion does seem very keen on keeping both Heretic squads in the fight. Blight Grenade should prove to be quite effective even if it is late in the game for a Blight Grenade. But still, no upgrade, or no units rather, has been purchased by Hiveminion as of yet. Still only has 125 power in the bank, so it should still be Terminators. And as I say, Terminators do appear on the field. These Terminators are going to be pretty effective against that Blade Champion, although with the Pestilent Strike, the Cloud does give you 90% damage reduction in range, so it's quite a lot of immunity. So from Redbeard, we should probably expect to see some Bloodletters come out as his next purchase, if he can afford it at some point. So these Mudcorn CSM do make their way over to Generator Farm. I'm kind of curious if we are going to see the Rapid Fire Plasma Pistol once again. I'm kind of curious why. Wow. I don't know if it's just a bug with the squad or something. Why only one model's attacking. Definitely not quite right. But surprisingly, Lightning Claw upgrade has been purchased. So we'll see what Hive can do with them. So the Chaos Terminators, they can go in fairly aggressively as the Sorcerer stays back. So Lightning Claw Terminators will demolish everything. 70 power melee damage per second per model, making for a 210 total power melee damage for the squad. So they will teleport away. Not wanting to fight now, but I feel like they could have easily gone in there. In that particular instance, there's only 3 squads, or 4 squads if you include these. But I feel like they could pretty much dominate most things there, as long as they deal with these markers in each CSM first. So tier 3 is going to be achieved by Redbeard fairly soon. Kind of surprised he's going to go tier 3. I feel like some Bloodletters could have been okay here, given the amount of resources it does cost to tech up. We are Touch of Noble on the bottom side, but we do have a Summoning Circle from Hiveminion, but I think the Touch of Noble Heretics will easily take this fight here. And on the other side of the map, we do have Lightning Claw Terminators trying to go in, so Hiveminion does retreat away that CSM squad from the bottom side of the map, and it looks like it should be able to get away there. 40 HP. And on the top side of the map, the Pestilent ability has been used there against Chaos Sorcerer and one of the Heretic models. Blight Grenade does go down once again, so Lightning Claw Terminators is going to try and intercept, but they are very slow. Not the quickest of units, and Subjugation has been used on these Raptors as well. Allowing them to suppress enemy opponents, and the poison from the Blade Champion, since he did throw it on his feet, has now spread within his own army. So Terminator is going to go away from the fight once again. I feel like they could have easily fought these Raptors here, given that the Raptors were alone. But Hiveminion decides to pull back for now, does send his lone CSM model down towards the bottom side of the map, not even an aspiring champion, just a regular CSM model. Meanwhile, the Blastmaster upgrade for these Noise Marines is going to get purchased here. Feel like it should be okay. Can be used to try and defend the mid side of the map. Can one-shot a Heretic squad, I believe, if it does land correctly. However, they won't be able to get their shot off initially. Meanwhile, a nice grenade barrage will catch out a few squads here. Chains of Torment has gone down, will catch out those Raptors quite far away from the fight. Blight Grenade is going to go down once again, and that is a lot of poison against all these Heretics here. Terminators won't care about it too much, and neither would Sorcerer to a certain extent. Although one Heretic squad decides to remain in the fight for a little bit longer. But we do see the Rod Warp Fire here for the Sorcerer. Quite a lot of abilities to be spammed on the Sorcerer, but not too much energy as he is only level 3 still. Warp Fire ability, I believe, does cost 65 energy here, so we could see that get used against these Raptors if they remain in the fight too long, but they decide to actually use their jump to get out of the fight instead. Meanwhile, CSM squad was lost here due to these Heretics on the bottom side of the map, so Redbeard will resume control of the bottom side of the map. Meanwhile, subjugated Raptors once again try and go for these Blight Marines, while these Siege CSM decide to stop firing before they kill their own Raptor models. So Blastmaster in the mid-side of the map here, going to be focusing down some Heretics, but we do have some Bloodletters on the field here. So Redbeard went tier 3, but then ended up getting Bloodletters. Which, there's no tier 3 upgrades that he could have purchased either. So I'm a bit curious about that. If he did remain tier 2, he could have had a second set of Bloodletters out in the field and could have been very aggressive against these Terminators under Worship. But we'll see if he decides to get a Predator out potentially a bit later. Although time is definitely not on his side at the moment with 68 VPs remaining. We know Phase Shift been activated or forced to be activated by these Bloodletters. They will try and make their way back. A Shrine of Nurgle is going to be erected in the mid-side of the map. Meanwhile, Heretics do need to try and join this fight so they can actually get some Worship support against these Bloodletters. Who played Champion makes his way there. I'm not too sure about that grenade though. Needs to be careful not to walk too close to these Heretics, otherwise he will spread the poison. Oh, that's low. Bloodletters are going to fall back and try and reinforce there a little bit. Meanwhile, the Sorcerer, these Heretics and some Chaos Terminators are going to make their way towards the mid-side. I don't know how long that Shrine of Nurgle can remain up for. So we do see that Hiveminion is going to opt for some Bloodletters of his own as well. Meanwhile, Raptors is trying to get on top of the Noise Marines here, but we do see that Subjugation will go down. These subjugated Raptors are going to try and jump into the fight immediately. Lightning Claw Terminators are trying to make their way towards the backside. The Pestilent Strike ability is going to go down. And we do see the Summoning Circle allowing Hiveminion to reinforce in the field, and that is a lot of poison. I can't tell who it's more beneficial for, but these Noise Marines are also knocking everything down. One Terminator model does fall here, the Blade Champion will also fall, but these Bloodletters look fairly healthy still, but they're not receiving any Worship support, especially as that was the last Heretic there that just got absolutely annihilated. Now Lightning Claw Terminator is forced to jump on these Raptors instead. There is some Worship support available for Hiveminion. And that is a very low Heretic squad there, will get picked apart there. Bloodletters are still in the field with 2 models, although with the Shrine of Nurgle now been taken down, there is no further reinforcement for them on the field. Raptors kind of low at the moment with 47 HP, but tries to jump in for that final blow, but ends up getting clawed apart instead. And Redbeard calls GG, but with Hiveminion about to capture the top and the bottom sides of the map and in control of the center still, Redbeard doesn't actually have enough units to try and contest the map control for now, and Hiveminion going to be taking game number 1 in this series. So fairly close game, 100 units killed aside. Although again, the units killed, units lost doesn't really quite match up with each other, so it's kind of hard to say. I realise I forgot about Hiveminion's N at the end of his name, but oh well. Let's get these players invited in for the next game. In the meantime, let's get a new map spun up as well. So Jarlow's Forge will get removed from the map pool as we do spin for another map. Let's reveal the map. Calderas Desert. Okay, so Hiveminion's already got a map up at the moment then. Calderas Desert was the next rolled map for both players. Unless they've rolled Outer Reaches. So on Calderas Desert, I think we can expect to see Hiveminion go for Tyranid, especially as the Blade Champion has been used by Redbeard. Hiveminion will be first pick, don't need to say it, he is just going to announce his commander, and then we'll see if Redbeard decides to veto the Hive Tyrant or if he decides to play against it. I believe Hiveminion's also got the link to Alpha if he does want to play Tyranids as well for a different commander. So Redbeard, from him we could potentially see the Tech Marine get played. What else has Redbeard got? He's got the Commander Knob as well, which was probably going to be a pretty good shout on this map, given how large it is. But the Hive Tyrant definitely annoying on this map due to the ability to be able to place down a Brood Nest quite defensively. And because of the size of the map, makes it very difficult to actually kill. So it's going to be the BbBoS. It's going to be a nice big stompy matchup between two commanders that will crush everything in their path. I do quite like this matchup actually. So I'll set myself as ready as we get into game number 2 of this series.
You want me?
So on the bump side of the map, going to have Redbeard here as a BbBoS, going to be stomping his way around. Hiveminion on top side also is a Hive Tyrant, but going to be stomping his way around. No, as a Hive Tyrant, but also going to be stomping his way around. Cannot get the words out I need today, but from Redbeard and from Hiveminion, just going to see fairly standard builds from both players. Not going to see any sort of triple melee builds, which are always fun to see as both commanders are pretty good at countering melee builds. So it's going to be 2 shooters for Redbeard, 2 Termguns for Hiveminion. From there, we should expect to see either some Storm Boys or a Pain Boy, probably a Pain Boy. Redbeard does prefer to go for a Pain Boy, I believe. Now from Hiveminion, we could expect to see some Warriors provide some basic synapse to nearby units, or we could see some Raveners. And I think Raveners would probably be the better choice here to try and get onto the back line against these double shooters, especially if they do receive full upgrades. But so far, no engagements as of yet. Some shooters and the Hive Tyrant are nearby, but not quite in range of each other. So far, no fighting shall be had. So far, Redbeard with slightly more aggressive map capping will have the center of the map. Meanwhile, Hiveminion will not have the center VP. We do see him grouping up and making his way over there, so we should expect to see a fight. Redbeard may decide to leave that VP to him instead. But with the BbBoS and 2 shooters here, should be an okay engagement for him to try and take all those Spore Mines out on the field. So shooters forced to vacate towards the bottom side as the Hive Tyrant encloses the gap. And the BbBoS is going to go straight for the Spore Mine squad here. Although that Spore Mine squad is still fairly healthy, definitely not wanting any special when trying to chase down a moving unit here. The Hive Tyrant on the back line here, just going to be very disruptive, trying to tie up as many squads as possible as the Spore Mines continue to hunt down these shooters. So it's going to switch target now to that BbBoS, but could always leave the fight here as these shooters will be able to try and poke him down at a distance. So poison has been spread to 1 squad, won't spread to any other squads. Redbeard just kind of stay at the maximum or minimum distance required for that. And it's actually going to be Storm Boys as a first purchase, while Warriors are purchased on the other side as well. And while the fighting has been ongoing, while Redbeard has been forced back to base, he did lose control of his natural requisition point here, and is losing some control of the center of the map as well. So Storm Boys will be able to get onto the back line there to try and tie up these Termguns, but should probably be used to try and snipe down Warrior models where possible to cause some synapse knockbacks. And with this Redbeard going to aggressively push in through. Don't have any upgrades on the BbBoS as of yet, but we should expect to see some at some point. Potentially the spiky armor, just to give them some health regeneration to maintain on the field a bit longer. Where we don't see it too often, the Bang Bang Hammer can also be really interesting if you've got 2 melee squads on the field, as every hit will excite your own units, providing them with a speed boost and a damage boost. But we could also see the Boss Pole as well, just provide a health boost to all nearby units, which tends to be the way to go since it just makes all your units that much more tankier. But with the BbBoS, could also see the Enhanced Custom Shooter. Again, there's a lot of choices for the BbBoS here to try and stun that Hive Tyrant, to try and prevent him from coming in, although that would be more beneficial if the Hive Tyrant does have some upgrades. So, Rending Talons here for Hiveminion. Rending Talons do allow you to knock back opposing units, gives you 75 melee DPS as well, making you very scary to go up against in a melee fight. We could also see the extended carapace as well to allow the Hive Tyrant to try and charge into combat. The Storms though taking a lot of damage here before actually getting into the fight. They're inflicted by that crippling poison, and they don't actually jump into the fight at all, so not really wanting to commit too hard to this whatsoever. Meanwhile, Redbeard is still just continuing to pull back a little bit as Hiveminion just funnels his way down the mid side of the map. Not even wanting to engage against these Termagants either. So Redbeard deciding to turn around now. Not sure why now is the moment to attack. It's kind of hard to say, but the BbBoS is on the right hand side capping up at the moment, so he's not part of the fight. Meanwhile, Stormboys do make their way back out onto the field, so we should see Stormboys try and jump in, but Warriors are ready with the Hive Tyrant to provide some melee coverage. Crippling Poison is available for the other squad, and we do see the Hive Tyrant is going to knock over the Stormboys. Sluggers will try and follow in, but will be interrupted due to the Crippling Poison there. That Hive Tyrant is going to pick apart a couple of models. A Warrior model did end up getting taken out, but losing 3 Stormboys there is definitely quite a painful loss as well. Now Hiveminion is just trying to keep Redbeard in base as much as possible here. And Sluggers will try and go in here against these Termagants, but that Hive Tyrant though is just putting in so much work. He alone is just doing pretty majority of the damage in this fight. And Hive is now pushing Redbeard all the way into his own base, to the point where the base turrets are forced to focus down his units. But these shooters look like they will finally be able to escape out of the base for a little bit. Meanwhile, this BbBoS has just been on his own, capping on the right hand side, did reclaim his natural requisition point, and is going to go for a capture on the enemy natural VP. But overall map control is still very much in Hiveminion's favour, so we'll see if Redbeard can hold on a little bit longer. And that BbBoS is very low, and does end up going down. Hiveminion with a strong advantage here in Tier 1. We'll see if the advantage will carry on as Hiveminion does prep to go towards Tier 2. Only 5 power away, meanwhile Redbeard quite a way away with 50 power required before he can begin taking up himself. So in Tier 2 we should expect to see a Tyrant Guard come out. I've called in through the global ability of the Hive Tyrant if he has got enough red for it, or just purchased from base. We have seen some Tyranid players opt go for 2 Tyrant Guards, one called in by the global ability and the other one to be purchased as per normal, which allows you to exert a lot of pressure on the field since 2 Tyrant Guards are hard to deal with in comparison to 1. You know, Termagants and Hive Tyrant on the pursuit here for these shooters and sluggers. Termagants will try and focus down the ranged units since they're a bit more effective at trying to kill them, while these sluggers are the target of the Hive Tyrant. 3 shooter models actually dying here. These Termagants, despite not having their adrenal glands upgrade, are doing quite some work. On the left hand side we do see that Stormboys are finally able to recapture a little bit of control. And Redbeard will try and come into the mid side here with his shooters, does have the second set of shooters back at base, trying to reinforce, and once they're ready they should come back out. So this Hive Tyrant is still fairly tanky at 800 HP. Probably needs to get focused down a little bit to whittle his health down to try and assist in the next fight. You know, these Storms though, definitely struggling to have too much of an impact in this game. I feel like a Pain Boy may have been the better choice. But we'll see how these Stormboys do perform in Tier 2 though, when they do get the knock leader out. So Tier 2 has now been achieved by Hiveminion. Straight away we do see the Tyrant Guard purchase is underway. Well, we don't see the global ability get used to purchase as a Hive Tyrant as of yet. We'll need to spend a bit more, we'll need to save a few more resources before that can actually occur. So Hiveminion has actually been forced off the map completely, but with the Tyrant Guard coming out, we'll need to see a Knob Leader on these Slug Boys to provide some hefty power melee damage to try and assist in dealing with that. BbBoS can also equip himself with a Power Claw as well to give him heavy melee damage to make him more effective against any type of armor. Now for these Warriors, don't know if we've got the Adrenal Glands upgrade yet, but we could potentially see that come in a bit later. It looks like it'll just be the 1 Tyrant Guard for now. It has 150 red in the bank. I'm not sure how much red it was for another Tyrant Guard, but I believe it might be 200. So let's see if we can afford it. Still no upgrades on this BbBoS though. I think once we see the Slugger Knob Leader get purchased, we should see some upgrades here for the BbBoS, as he will need it at some point. You know, these Termagants, they're just trying to ease as many shooters on the way back to base as possible. So Knob Leader is on the way for both melee squads at the moment, and there is a truck to try and provide some mobility to these boys. Meanwhile, Hiveminion does have that Tyrant Guard on the field here, making its way down towards the Generator farm in the bottom left hand corner. So Termagants are going to start working away on it. Brood Nest does get placed down, so we won't see a second Tyrant Guard get purchased via the global ability of the Hive Tyrant, as there is no more red to spare. So we may see a Tyrant Guard is just going to get purchased outright instead. So Storms are going to try and jump in here, going to try and focus down that Brood Nest, although it's starting to actually focus down Termagants instead. A lot of Termagants are bleeding here. Shooters will instead be the ones to finish off the nest. Meanwhile, Homgun's going to try and join the fight with the Hive Tyrant and these Warriors. But use your choppers activated on these Storm Boys, providing with some melee skill and melee damage here. Overall, I feel like this fight is going to go for the favour of Hiveminion. Storms do take a defensive jump away, but Sluggers are still very deep into this fight. We'll try and enter the truck instead. I don't believe the Hive Tyrant has used his Rending Talons ability as of yet, although given that he is lacking a bit of energy, I believe that has been used here. And that is a lot of dagger and a lot of chopping action there. So the Hive Tyrant is going to fall as he commits a bit too hard in that fight. However, the Hive Tyrant was saved because of the Hive Tyrant remaining in that fight so long, so we should see him go back to base and try and heal up. Meanwhile, a second Hive Tyrant has been purchased, but kind of needs that Hive Tyrant on the field though. The Rending Talons knockback ability is just so useful to trying to fight two squads or two melee squads at once. So that truck just driving around. And there is the power core for the BbBoS. So BbBoS, we should expect to see potentially the boss pole or some armor come in for him at some point. I think the boss pole would be a good decision here, especially as there are two Tyrant Guards on the field, but some increased armor for him would be quite nice to make him a bit more of a tank. The truck is going to resume driving around the map for now. So we'll see. So definitely not wanting to commit to a fight as of yet. The Storms and Sluggers are currently the other side of the map for now. So they should be trying to join these two shooters inside the truck momentarily. They do make their way towards the middle, but these Storms are a little bit low, at about half HP, so not too sure about them joining the fight immediately. BbBoS though is getting a little bit caught out on the top side of the map here. He is on his own. And we do see that Hiveminion is trying to go surround him at the same time. On the mid side though, Sluggers will get caught out by the Crippling Poison ability, and we do actually have the bomb getting used on truck there, and with two Tyrant Guards that is a lot of melee damage in the rear. That truck is definitely going to fall down and shooters are forced off the field immediately. On the mid side of the map though, these Storms and Sluggers are just going to try and sit there, but the BbBoS though is still on his own, still wanting a bit of a fight by the looks of it. And there we go, he's going to try and run away. So what is the bomb called? 4x Swarm. So that BbBoS on his way back to base. Meanwhile, in the mid side, the Hive Tyrant has been repurchased, and the two Tyrant Guards definitely lacking a little bit of mobility with this double Tyrant Guard build. So Tank Busters are going to be the next port of call to try and deal with these Tyrant Guards when they enter their shield wall formation. Should also do fairly well against them, even in their non-shield wall formation too. So that one Tyrant Guard is going to go in. It did not use its ability charge, it was just its melee charge to get in. Activate shield wall formation to prevent it from taking any further damage from power melee. Power melee is still very effective against vehicles, but definitely do take reduced damage from it. So Bomb Boys being used at the mid side there against these Termagants. Meanwhile, Hive Tyrant trying to do what he can there. Looks like everything's trying to focus down that Tyrant Guard in shield wall formation. The other Tyrant Guard not wanting to commit to that fight there. And the extended carapace from the Hive Tyrant doesn't allow him to try and knock back some units, although he did use all of his abilities earlier, so there's no disruption left. And this Tyrant Guard decides to try and charge out there. Looks like it might just be able to do so in time. Second Tyrant Guard going to provide some resistance. Nopoly's dying mid-air as well. Very unfortunate there for a Redbeard. So with there not being a truck on the field, there are no reinforcements, so Redbeard does need to be careful about overextending himself. But it looks like he's still doing pretty well. Might be able to snipe this Tyrant Guard here, but the BbBoS though is a bit preoccupied trying to focus down the Brood Nest instead. And with that he shall claw it to death. So full upgrades here for the BbBoS, do have the spiky armor and the boss pole, providing plenty of support to nearby units and also causing units to take damage whenever hitting the BbBoS in melee combat. And with this, the VPs currently in favour of Hiveminion at the moment, as it was a triple cap, who has now gone to a 2-0 cap and will go to a 1-0 cap at the moment. Meanwhile, Hive Tyrant is going to try and walk his way towards the mid-side, but it's already down to 560 HP, so he's not going to stand up against two shooters for too much longer. It looks like Redbeard will be forced off the field altogether. Meanwhile, the Hive Tyrant is on his way back to base to try and regen up a little bit. So Slugger's on the right hand side, going to be forced off, and Hiveminion overall, his army is definitely seeming a bit weaker in comparison to Redbeard. Redbeard's managed to keep his army alive for a bit longer, and they're starting to receive some decent leveling here, so level 2 for pretty much everything, with the exception of these tank busters on the field. Meanwhile, for Hiveminion, a lot of stuff, well, a lot of the stuff's actually pretty well leveled as well, except for this Tyrant Guard, still level 1, but with one Tyrant Guard down, it's definitely going to hurt a bit. So Gene Stealers try and fight these Sluggers and Storms in melee combat. Need to be careful of the Warboss, since he does have that spiky arm. The Gene Stealers will end up hurting themselves quite a bit because of it. But do you see that Redbeard is going to group up towards that right hand side, although it doesn't actually have too much melee with him at the moment, with the Warboss being the only exception to that. Although his Storms and Sluggers appear to also be on the way as well. Both Storms may end up getting caught out a little bit, or come in for a flank actually. Could be a good opportunity to try and flank with these Storms. There are Gene Stealers on the back line here, and Blackbuster Barrage does go down. I'm not too sure about the positioning of it. Those Sluggers will be fighting the Homogons and the Tyrant Guard. Meanwhile, Storms are on the backside, trying to focus down these warriors as much as possible. Doesn't look like they will actually get any warrior models though in the end. You know, Psychic Stream there from the Hive Tyrant to reduce the damage of nearby units. That Tyrant Guard is just picking apart those Slug models. Meanwhile, Storms are still in the fight here, but Gene Stealers are ready to counter that. You know, Tyrant Guard comes in to try and knock over that Warboss, although the Warboss midway through his stomp animation is immune to knockback. Gene Stealers now switching focus towards these shooters instead, although since they are regular infantry, they do take a lot of damage trying to get into melee combat there against just regular piercing damage. But Hive Tyrant does have his charge available, so we should see him charge in a moment when he does have enough energy to do that, but I believe he's lacking the energy, or maybe he has his charge ability on cooldown. He did use it maybe in the fight, but I didn't see that, so I assumed it would be off cooldown. So tier 3 for both players. From Redbeard, we should expect to see a Lucid Tank out onto the field. Meanwhile, from Hiveminion, we should expect to see the Doom of Malantai or a Neurophrope. So these double shooters though, it's proven to be a massive pain, a massive source of damage here for Redbeard at the moment. Although with Gene Stealers and Homogons coming in, even with the aiming what's that ability to try and suppress them in their tracks, they are going to get forced off the field at some point. Going to try and focus down these warriors instead, before being forced to retreat away before they lose any models or take too much damage. Meanwhile, Warboss in the mid side, they're going to be fighting against a Tyrant Guard. Warboss will lose this fight, but if he can try and damage the Tyrant Guard as much as possible, he can regen and come back in the fight again soon. One more hit from Death, cutting it a little bit fine there. So, Termagant's back in the mid side. We do have some Rippers on the field as well. So the Rippers will try and help tie up one of these Shooter Boy squads at the very least. Could try and tie up a second one with a second Ripper squad, but Rippers also very vulnerable to Sluggers and their Flamers. So double shooters make their way towards the mid side, try and pick off some models here. Brood Nest has been placed down, so Termagants can reinforce in the field and also receive some health regeneration. Still no tier 3 unit here for Hiveminion as of yet, so I might try and buy some time, although no tier 3 unit here for Redbeard either. I don't think either player is aware that the other is tier 3, but these Rippers though, fairly committed. Need to be careful about giving away 3 XP points like this. The Blood Strangler is able to land a shot there, thanks to these Rippers tying up these shooters as much as possible, and Hive Tyrant is just disrupting the backline big time. Homogons as well, trying to get in there. Meanwhile, only Storms and Warboss on the field for now. Warriors will just get away with all models live, and that should be a dead Stormboy squad here. And although he is fairly tanky, should not be tanky enough to survive this. And Warboss is the only other units there on the field, but even he is going to retreat away. Doesn't look like he'll die. Losing the Storms though, definitely going to be quite painful in the later stages of the game, but we do see that Lucid Tank on the way. Meanwhile, Hiveminion looks like he's saving up for a Carnifex instead of a Neurophrope. Although saying that he does get the Neurophrope out now, so he may have just been delaying that purchase instead. So the reason for the Neurophrobe as opposed to the Carnifex is due to there being a large amount of infantry on the field. The Neurophrobe has so many abilities to try and deal with bulk of infantry, and also given that it does have a huge amount of range as well, should be very effective against these double shooters on the field. So with the Looter Tank here, Warriors are going to need to try and get close, try and use their 4-axe swarm. And Gene Stealers can also equip themselves with heavy melee as well with the Adrenal Gland upgrade, I believe it was called. So we could see if that comes in, and then we can try and kill it with heavy melee, or we could see the Hive Tyrant try and equip himself with a Venom Cannon. So reinforced plating is going to be the first upgrade here for the Looter Tank, to allow it to survive a bit better, increasing the health from 650 to 850 at level 1. But these Warriors, I don't think will have the opportunity to get too close to the Looter Tank though. That Tyrant Guard is still just going to be a massive pain. The upgrade's called Rending Claws. Yeah, I thought Dream Glands kind of run for that. Could see the Rending Claws upgrade get used, but actually cancels the Neurophrobe in favour of a Carnifex, so it could be a Venom Cannon Carnifex here to try and counter this Looter Tank on the field, since it does alright against infantry as well. Tank Busters winning in melee combat there against these Rippers. These Rippers are just there to buy time, really. So, no Venom Cannon here for the Hive Tyrant as of yet. Meanwhile, the Carnifex is on the field, and we do see that Venom Cannon has been equipped to try and counter the Looter Tank, and that's a lot of damage to the Warrior Squad. Our shooters from the right hand side with some Tank Busters here, so Tyrant Guard's still a bit of an issue to deal with, especially with Gene Stealers and the Hive Tyrant to provide some support to it. Sluggers are going to come in. These Sluggers are level 3, do have their Knob Leader equipped, but getting suppressed by the Barbed Triangle Warriors is definitely a bit of an issue. Gene Stealers are just trying to get in as deep as possible here, and forces these Shooter Boys off. Redbeards are forced off the field altogether here. When our Looter Tank is actually quite low, brought down to 311 HP. So we could see a second Looter Tank here for Redbeard. We could also see some commandos to try and disrupt any infantry on the field, but a second Looter Tank. Don't know actually. Against the Venom Cannon Carnifex, given it's not taken much damage so far, I don't know how well second Looter Tank would do. It's also going to be a bit more difficult to try and micro 2 tanks in comparison to 1. But we could also see Knobs get purchased, given that it's going to be a ranged Carnifex as opposed to a melee one. The only issue is that Gene Stealers are on the field. So it's going to be Knobs here for Redbeard as his next choice. This tank not quite full health, but is still going to go into the fight regardless, but we do see Tank Busters capping on the side instead. So Venom Cannon going to try and shoot from a distance, meanwhile Gene Stealers will try and close the gap as much as possible. BbBoS are going to be able to one-shot those Gene Stealer models with the Power Claw. And BbBoS is just going to get stuck in place while Tyrant Guard works his way down. Meanwhile the Looter Tank trying to kite back as much as possible while Hive Tyrant tries to buy as much time. Ooh! Big hit there with the Bioplasma. And that BbBoS is so incredibly low, the Hive Tyrant will be able to finish him off there on retreat. The Hive Tyrant backs away himself. And Tank Busters look like they were forced off the VP. These Termagants winning in both ranged and melee combats against them. Sluggers are going to get into the mid-side as Redbeard is going to get a bit desperate here for VP's Hiveminion with a big advantage. 235 to 71. Where these Sluggers are demolishing the backline here. Warriors will get away with all models alive. There's actually a tier 3 Lictor, which I'm kind of surprised about. Tier 3 Lictor will be great for getting some map control around a map. Our Tyrant Guard is trying to fight these Knobs here and should use this opportunity to back away. Actually kills 2 Knob models. Bioplasma knocks down an additional model. While the Carnifex is going to try and join in the melee fights there by trying to claw down some shooters. These huge hammers trying to gain momentum where possible, but not much momentum has been gained thus far. Shield wall formation will be entered, but this Tyrant Guard is just so low at the moment. With a Looter Tank here, that should be a dead model. Redbeard will be able to finally try and establish himself in the mid-side, but Hiveminion is quick to react, not really wanting him to have the opportunity to do that. So we do see another truck out on the way. I'm not too sure about a secondary truck. Given that there's Venom Cannon Carnifex on the field, this truck should be a bit of a risky purchase, surely, because the Venom Cannon on that Carnifex really hurts. You only take about 4 shots or so to kill it. So tier 3 Elixir is currently in the mid side at the moment, currently not detected for now. Can be used to try and pull in knob models and then let the Gene Stealers try and consume them. Although that tier 3 Elixir though going to be used to pick apart some tank buster models, while the Hive Tyrant is on this left hand side there, trying to tie up these shooters as much as possible, so Genes and Elixir have been forced away, and Hiveminion will just sit on 2 VPs, does have Termagants on his right hand side to defend. Hive Tyrant makes his way through to this left hand side and will just try and buy as much time as possible while the user tank comes into the mid side. It's quite low. Ooh, snipes it down there. Just about landing the Bioplasma shot. So Sluggers are just going to try and go in for the Desperation Cap at the moment, while Shooters are still trying to keep this Hive Tyrant occupied. Carnifex trying to do what he can. Knobs are also going to come in. These knobs should do alright against Carnifex, but there's only 2 models there, and with Gene Stealers and Elixir to provide some counter melee here, it's going to be a bit of a pain. So Rox will go down, but Rox is currently not catching out anything because Hiveminion has split his forces up. But for now, Redbeard does remain in the game a little bit longer. He's going to skirt this truck there along the edges. Does need to be careful as the Lictor does have heavy melee. Then Carnifex will get a rear armor hit there as the Rox has subsided. And that tier 3 Lictor just going to poke at some models. Meanwhile, the Neurophrobe is on the field, so Hiveminion gain 1 of every tier 3 unit possible, with the exception of Swarmlord actually. So we'll recapture the center of the map here with these warriors, or with the Neurophrobe, or even with the Lictor. Any unit will do. Could always send the Elixir towards the bottom left-hand side of the map, but may just keep it in the mid-side to try and fight any units. So Redbeard going to make one last push. I think if he does end up losing this particular push, he will be out of this game, therefore out of the series. Ooh, losing a knob model there to the Carnifex, and that is a nasty little combination there. Getting knocked over due to the Neurophrobe into a Tyrant formation. So GG has been called, and Redbeard was not going to have the opportunity to really do too much there, with his army severely weakened before he even made it into the mid-side of the map. Hiveminion will end up going 2-0 in this particular instance against Redbeard. So, with those games out of the way, Torpid, do you need to play against Hiveminion, if Hiveminion is available? Okay, so I think that's probably all we've got for league games for now, unless anyone else has any other games available. So Ghost is away. Fathom, has anyone seen where Fathom is? Because he's last online 13 hours ago. Okay, so he's actually like signed in, because I know that he was like away for a full week. He's not played any games as of yet. Shroom, I don't believe is currently online. So I think with that we are probably going to be taking a break until later on this evening, until we do get some more players available. Originally I was only intending to actually play against Ghost because he was asking me for some games, so I was trying to get that series done as I hadn't seen him online too much. So who have I got left to play myself? I've got Fathom and Adilla. Fathom, Adilla. There's one more, but I can't think of who it is. So I've got 14 games done now. Who have I not played on this list? So there's Adilla. Oh, Broodwitch, that's it. I need to play against Broodwitch, but Brood is currently not online for me to try and message. So I'll be ending the stream here for now, but I will probably be streaming again a bit later if there are some more Elite League games to be casted. And I may also just play some games in general, but for now I will be coming off. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you around later.